Why are the Utah Jazz so bad defensively again? Is it Will Hardy? Is it personnel? Is it more? Next on Locked On Jazz.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked On Jazz. It's your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen, and thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network in the land. We appreciate it greatly. All right, today's show is an Ask LOJ edition. So that means that your questions dictate the show. Very important questions about Red Panda to close it. Walker Kessler re-signing. Is Keyonte an all-star? Why are we so bad defensively? And a section of questions that come from our everydayer club as well. It's all coming up on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're going to the Jazz game tonight, bring your headphone, air-canceling headphones. Download the Event Sound app. You can get the broadcast right to you, no lag in the arena for you. Plus, you get commercial breaks. We chat with you. Sometimes you get to hear me lose it. Like last week, you got a really special treat. I didn't lose it. I just was super frustrated the way we were playing. And you got to hear that. So that's all part of the, bring your headphones to the arena for Arena Cast. It's exclusive. Nobody else other than the Jazz do it. Today's show is brought to you in part by Game Time. Get the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to get tickets. Create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right, I got a bunch of questions that kind of came in. Why are we so bad defensively again? And are we bad defensively because of personnel or because of Will Hardy's system? These seem to be kind of the questions. This was the headliner today. So the facts, let's get the facts. We rank 29th, I believe now, in the league defensively again. Washington is worse than we are. Last year, we ranked 30th. in the league defensively. And I believe the year prior to that, while we weren't trying to win games, we ranked 30th in the league. Actually, last year we were 29th. New Orleans slid below us according to Cleaning the Glass by the end of the year. In the 23rd-24 year, we weren't very good either. So I think it's a legitimate question, like to say we were 30th that year. So 30, 29, 29. I think it's a legitimate question. So there's a few things here. First, I'm just going to start with personnel. With Walker's injury this year, if Walker was healthy this year and we were 29th or 30th, I'd have been concerned, though Walker played last year and we were. Jusuf Nurkic is your starting center and Kevin Love is your backup center. I'm not sure you have a choice to be anything but. We're going to delve into it. I'm going to treat the question legitimately, but I do think I could have actually very easily just dismissed this question right out of the chute, been super protective of Will and the coaching staff and the players, and said, nope, there's nothing to it because of the fact that we have these injuries. And I think that's pretty fair. And one of the more obvious ones is the impact Jusuf Nurkic actually has. So when Jusuf Nurkic is on the floor, our defense isn't good. It's a 119.4. It's in the 25th percentile of all defenses. When Jusuf Nurkic is off the floor, and thus Walker Kessler, because of the injury, is off the floor, our defensive rating is in the bout is 128.3. So for nearly 20 minutes a night, we're a turnstile. Kevin Love, Kyle Filipowski just are not defensive centers. You're going to be a good defensive team because of one of two things. You either have an unbelievable center, Rudy Gobert, or you have amazing wing defenders. We have neither. 128, just to put in perspective, Washington's the worst defense in the league at 124. Okay, so league average is 116 points per possession. So, I mean, just horrific. So I'm going to really side on this one on personnel, but I want to take the question seriously. And I do think there's some really interesting things going on, and I think there's some signs of how we can get better, and there's some things that are probably fixable in here, and there's some things that probably are schematic that either need to be accepted or addressed. So let's start with defensive shooting, where teams are shooting against us. We are the number one team in the league at denying the rim. We are the number one team in the league, according to Cleaning the Glass, at location effective field goal percentage. So we're forcing teams to take shots on the locations on the floor that should yield to the best, if everyone shot average, to the best defensive effective field goal percentage in the NBA. If every player in the league shot average on every shot from where they were shooting, we would have the number one effective field goal percentage defense. We're number one in the league in denying the rim. So that's super. We're last in the league at defending the actual shot. Okay, so that's the truth of why we're so bad defensively. So schematically, we're forcing the shots we should. We should force the most floaters, the second most mid-range shots, the most above the break threes in the second most above the break threes in the NBA. Problem is when someone gets to the rim, because of our lack of centers, we're 27th in the league at defending that. We're last in the league at defending a floater. We're last in the league at defending a mid-range shot. And we're 27th in the league at defending an above the break. So we're forcing the right shots, and then we're last in the NBA in actual effective field goal percentage defense. Let me address the 27th of the rim. Okay, Nurk is our center. Here are the defensive ratings. So Nurk was not a particularly mobile guy, gets a massive injury, Taylor Hendricks, Gordon Hayward type injury. Incredibly comes back. He's been super for us, but let me just get the facts. Here are the rankings of the defenses that Nurk has played on since he came back from that injury. 29th, 29th, 27th, 12th in Phoenix, the first year under Vogel, 24th and 27th. So if Nurk is your starting center, it has not been since he came back from the injury. Now, some of that's with Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum and some terrible defensive guards, so it's not all on Nurk. And there's a 12th in there, so that's Frank Vogel figured it out. Who's one of the great defensive coaches ever in the NBA. So like let's not like discount that. But like, and I'm not trying to. This is not a Nurk problem. In fact, I just addressed that the real problem is when Nurk's off the floor. But even when Nurk's on the floor, which is our defensive standard, that's not great. Now let's look at this. This is really, now we're getting into it, okay? I spent some time on this. I hope we're not geeking you out. I think this is really interesting. So now let's get into this. One of the things that's happening is we have this defensive scheme, which frankly I think is really like a good sign, but we're allowing butt naked open threes at an alarming rate. So the most threes allowed. Let me see if I can. Opponent shooting. Give me 1 second here. Closest defender. I went to offense first. We're allowing 24.7 threes a night with no defender within 6 feet. That is the most of any team in the NBA. Teams, in turn, shoot 41% from three against us. On the 40% from three on those open threes. By the way, the Lakers are miserable defensively. Teams are shooting 43% on open threes against them. That's actually going to come back. That's a little high. 40% seems high too. However, the league average, just kind of the middle of the pack now, on a wide open three is 38.5%. You can't leave people open from three anymore. Teams have gotten too good. So, again, let me line this up. We're doing the best job at putting shots in the right spots. However, they're not contested at all. So this is just kind of base numbers. Second Spectrum, which is now Basketball Genius, takes this to another level. They have something called QSQ, which is quantified shot quality. So Oklahoma City is the best in the NBA, allowing the poorest shots in the league. They allow quantified shot quality. If the average player shot against them, they'd shoot 50.2%. The worst in the NBA is New Orleans at 56%. Okay, that kind of vibes. We're 25th in that. Interestingly, they also have a number of QSI, which is what teams opponents are shooting compared to what they should. We're the second least fortunate team in the league. Teams are shooting 3.4% points better than you would think on average against us than they should. Only Charlotte has it worse. Is that because we're just unlucky, or is that because we're doing something wrong? More on this and why we are so poor defensively as we continue on this Friday edition of Locked On Jazz. Today's show is brought to you by my friends over at Murdoch Hyundai, located at 4646 South State Street, also located in Logan and in Logan, Salt Lake, Linden for you for the Murdoch Hyundais. And Jake down at the Murdoch store in Linden does an amazing job for us. He's sold me 2 cars so far. Got my dad one, got me one. Absolutely fabulous customer service when I've been down there. Really, really, really feel good about how you'll be treated if you head over to Murdoch. But we're going to make sure it's even better than it would be otherwise, because we're going to give you the VIP treatment that you deserve by being a member of the Locked On Everydayer Club and just being a Locked On Everyday listener and sending you over to Murdoch Hyundai, located 4646 South State Street. The Hyundai lineup of cars, absolutely amazing. I'm driving the Santa Fe Hybrid right now. Love it. We own the Ioniq 5. We own the Ioniq in the family. My dad owns the Ioniq 6. We drive 2 other Santa Fe's in the house. Absolutely amazing. And I've been pleased with every single one of them. So if you're in the market for a car right now, let's get you set up over at the Hyundais. Email me at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock09@gmail.com so that we can make sure you get the VIP treatment that you deserve. Are you looking for a great time close to Salt Lake City with absolutely gives you a fun per foot ratio that's superior to anything you can imagine? Well, that's what we got for you at Woodward, the easiest place in Utah to learn and experience for the first time skiing and snowboarding. Do it at woodwardparkcity.com. Located just 20 minutes from Salt Lake Valley, Woodward offers experiential learning in a radically fun and safe environment with facilities for all abilities. The door is always open to first-timers and regulars like bounce from parks to pits to ramps to tramps and back again. Mountain Park season passes are now just $4.99. Rip hot laps with a passe after school into the evening. Maximize mountain time this winter at one of the best terrain parks in Utah all season long. Looking to go all in? The all-access membership provides that, from parks to passes, discounts, and more. Just starting out, learn to fly with Woodward's Tribe in seasonal multi-week programs that build skills, confidence, and stoke inspiring environment. So do it now with the all-new Winter Mountain Pass for just $4.99. Ride all season, one of Utah's best terrain parks, and get the absolute best value out of your winter. It's the best place to maximize mountain time. Easy out. The tubing is up and running. I drive by each day and see everyone stoked out on the fun. Today's show is also brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood, the new gold standard. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time. With Robinhood prediction markets, it's not just against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never knew had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. So now you can. You can actually take part in live, in-market, powered by the people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps involving trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission, merchant, and swap firm. All right, digging into the defense a little bit more. Thank you for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. Thank you for making us the number one sports podcast network in Everydayer Club. All access. We'll get to your questions here in just a second. If you want to be a part of the Everydayer Club, you get ad-free access to our exclusive Discord channel, as well as Locked On Sports Today. That's $5 a month. If you want to be part of the All Access Club, you get direct one-on-one emailing from me. So, for example, today you'll get the Detroit Pistons Locked On Utah Jazz breakdown. You'll probably get my Pistons offensive and defensive profile. You might get a bunch of some Jazz numbers as I update those throughout the day. So you'll kind of get everything I'm doing throughout the day. You'll get a few thoughts during the game usually. You get a newsletter after every single show exclusively. You get 15% off the merch store. So you can buy a cool hat like this. All sorts of things there. Plus, you get Leaf 2 Leans draft breakdowns, AJ Dumbansa breakdown for you. Go to lockedonjazz.supercast.com. That's lockedonjazz.supercast.com to sign up for the Everyday Club. All right, let's get geeky here for a second. So, the Jazz QSQ, the Jazz shot location defense is the best in the NBA. Their QSQ gets a little less good, which is 52%. 25th in the league, 54%. Their QSI, which is what teams actually shoot against them, and the quality gets even worse. So let's look at a few things. The Jazz allow the average closest defender to a shot. The Jazz are worst in the NBA at 5.2. The average shot taken against the Jazz, the closest defender is 5.2 feet away. The Blazers are 4.88 is league average. The best in the NBA is Miami at 4.5. The percentage of shots contested were 20th in the NBA at 88%. Houston's wait, that's not right. We're 21st in the league at 88%. Houston's actually last at 86%, then New Orleans at 87, the Lakers at 87, Denver at 87 are the lowest. Miami contests the most. Oklahoma City contests the most. Heavily contested. We fall into 26th in the league. The best in the NBA, by the way, is Miami. Of heavily contested shots is Miami and then Atlanta. Forcing self-created shots. So in other words, you're not allowing driving kicks. You're not allowing, we're second to last in the NBA. And New Orleans is worse. So the answer to the question here is personnel. Without Walker Kessler, without Jusuf Nurkic, with not on the floor. However, there are very big areas where we can get better. I always say this about this. Just don't be 30th. So the idea that it's pretty great that we're number one in the league schematically in denying shots and denying shots of the rim. And it's not surprising that we're 29th in the league at denying the actual shot at the rim with our personnel. And we don't have there's not a guy out on our team that you think of yourself as like a great wing defender. And the players you actually probably think are great wing defenders, to be perfectly honest, are not very good defensive players. And below the scheme at the highest rate of anyone on the roster. So but there are areas where we could get a lot better. I don't think there's any reason why we should be giving up the most open threes of anyone in the NBA and they're hitting 40%. It's not like we're just choosing who they are. I think that there's no reason why we should be last in the NBA at the average closest defender distance. We can be better than 21st in the league in percentage of shots contested. So in some areas, there's some really good things going on, like shot location. And then there's a personnel issue. And then there's an overall defensive juice effort area. And I think they all fall into this. But I think it's a really legitimate question. I took a lot of time on it. All right, let's get back to your questions. Is Keyonte George an all-star? I really don't think so. He's been great. But all-star is like, there's only 24 all-stars. And I just don't think he's in the top 24 players in the league. Like Jamal Murray's got to get in front of him. And you just start doing the math. Austin Reeves probably gets in ahead of him. The one thing I would say to be a little careful, and I think Keyonte's been amazing. Don't misunderstand him. Particularly recently, he's been even more than amazing. Is that, these guys do have the ball in their hands a lot. And there's a lot of scoring going on. And, Jeff Teague the Jeff Teague factor is what I thought. Jeff Teague was really never, and he actually made an all-star game. So this is probably not entirely fair. And he's a great podcaster. But Jeff Teague was really never that great a player. And it was kind of a known thing in the league. But there was suddenly Jeff Teague at one point in time was like averaging 17, 18, 19 points a game because the point guards in the league just had the ball in their hands so much. We just ran so much pick and roll, and they just scored by Keyonte's not like Keyonte's more efficient. He's doing great things, but there is a level where like there's just like Shaedon Sharpe is scoring a lot of points in Portland. He's not an all-star. But Key is having, the 36% three-point shooting that's now up to that, the 45% field goal percentage. It's pretty great. But an all-star like that, remember, Darren didn't go to an all-star game for a long, long time. Jamal Murray hasn't been. So, no, he's not an all-star. Tony Jones says Keyonte is an automatic max player. Do you agree? Boy, I'm like the biggest Keyonte fan, and I'm all in on like the 29 games we've seen out of him this year have been incredible, and his night in and night out consistency right now has me super fired up. I mean, just 24, 20, 27, 34, 37. Like every night he's putting in really consistent big-time numbers. I couldn't be more pleased with him. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if he is, it's a pretty big game changer to who we are. But then again, I do think Austin Reeves is probably going to get a max from someone because he's on the market. So if Key's out there on the market and someone's going to try to sign him, maybe, which is not great because right now I don't think he's a top 50 player in the NBA yet. Maybe. I mean, 30 games just isn't enough for me. So if you're maxing out a player who's not top 50 in the NBA, that is not super for your landscape. The person who asked the question asked, isn't he a little Tyler Hero-esque? Tyler Hero's making 33. Feels like that's a decent comp, and that's not a max. And Tyler Hero's pretty darn good. And it feels like that's a pretty good comp to him. Tyler Hero was an all-star last year in his 7th year in the NBA. Tyler Hero's a 38% three-point shooter. He averages 22, 23, 24 points a game. Feels like that's early. All right, let's go to the everydayer questions. Could you summarize the Walker situation? What date does he need to sign? And any chance he doesn't? Yeah, there's a real chance he doesn't. So Walker's a restricted free agent. And so you get into the kind of the same game that Jonathan Kuminga got in this year, highly publicized game. And there's a date right before the beginning of the season. I don't know that exact date. And then if he doesn't, he takes a qualifying offer of $14.6 million, and then you're just into a nasty situation. There is this story that Walker wanted 4 years, $120 million. I don't know that to be true. That to me seems rich. I'd have to go back. I'd have to go through the NBA and look at all the centers and what they're getting paid and who you think Walker's comparable to. 30 to me seems a little rich. Like Zubac is at making 20 in LA. I feel like they're fairly close. Nick Claxton is making 20, 25, 23, and 20 in a decreasing deal. I feel like they're fairly close. I think he's probably better than Daniel Gafford, who's making 20. Miles Turner got paid this offseason, but that was 26, 27 average deal. 30 seems pretty rich to me. Mitchell Robinson can never stay healthy, but is super impactful. He's making 12. Jakob Poeltl, to me, is constantly overpaid as a center, probably similar, not as good a rim defender, is getting paid 20, and then jumps to 27, 29, and 27 coming up here. That's a weird contract to me. If I was Walker's agent, I would be basing everything off that conversation point. So I'm with them on that. If I was Walker's agent, I'd be asking for 30. It seems rich. It seems like we should be able to get a deal done and that we really don't want to lose Walker. All right, more everydayer questions coming in. More Ask LOJ questions coming in today. It is a Friday edition. What do we got? Very important Red Panda stuff. Would I still go big for the Zion, Trey Young group? Are any of Keyonte's numbers bad player numbers? Is Ace Bailey a number one? At some point, it's all coming up on Locked on Jazz. Today's edition of Locked on Jazz is brought to you by DoorDash. This season heating up, and DoorDash is a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season more fun because every player has their bag. With DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need dessert now. Those late night interviews hit and suddenly you need chips at midnight. DoorDash is built exactly for that. If the group chat says pull up, DoorDash makes sure you show up prepared. Snacks, cups, even a phone charger for a friend who's always at 2%. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season delivered right now to your door. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is going to make sure that they get you into the building, get you a good experience, and with the promo code LOCKEDONNBA, you get $20 off your first purchase. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives your fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Features like zone deals help unlock great seats at even better values. Whether it's the NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get into the action. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. I love Ask LOJ editions because, frankly, the questions are awesome. From Greg Nell. A few months ago, you thought Ja, Zion, Trey were all worth selling the farm for. Do you still think that? Okay, I don't think I was selling the farm, but I think I was willing to go get him. I'm not in on Ja. Ja's just not good right now. And really can't shoot. Zion, the latest injury might have broke me, so I might have been wrong on all of these. And Atlanta playing better without Trey Young is eye-opening. And since Trey Young's come back, I think they've completely fallen apart. So there's a real chance I was wrong on all three of these. I'd still seriously investigate the Trey Young situation. I just think he's a master offensively. But the fact that Atlanta won more without him is eye-opening. And it's interesting because his plus-minus doesn't show a disaster. But it does feel like that a little bit. I really like what I'm seeing from Keyonte. Do I worry that he's doing all this on a bad team? Do you have any data comparisons to help understand if this is more legit? From Taylor G, another Locked On everydayer. I think the efficiency is the number that I will look at all year long with Keyonte on this one. And his efficiency right now is great. He's the focus of the defensive game plan right now. His assist turnover ratio is good. Everything feels very legit right now for Keyonte. The three-point shooting's been really great recently. The ability to get to the free throw line, certainly getting massive opportunity. And I do think you have to be very worried about big numbers on a bad team. I think that's a great point. And there's just so much scoring that's going on in the NBA. But I don't think you can really deny 24 points right now on 45% shooting, 36% from three. His effective field goal percentage is 52, which I think is right on league average. And guards at league average are probably pretty good. No, actually, effective field goal percentage is now 54.6. But centers are 62%. So this is where I'm going to watch points gained on him and make sure that they're still in the right place. Can Ace Bailey be a number one option? I certainly think so. He needs to get a little better with his handle. He has just zero idea what to do around the rim. His rim finishing numbers look fine because of the fact that he's dunking and any other time he actually gets in trouble, he gets to the basket and he's suddenly in. He either turns it over or he loses it. He's not going to the free throw line at all. And these are all things that I think will develop when he's not 19 years old. So, yes, he has the ability to get the shot off at any moment he wants. He has incredible touch. You can see it from three and from his mid-range stuff. And he's just got to learn. So, yes, I see nothing that tells me Ace Bailey's not going to be a number one option. What markers should we look for young players, particularly Cody Taylor and Isaiah? Gosh, this is a hard question. It's a great question. I know everybody wants it. I took it but I don't have a good answer here. So Taylor, I have no answer. And it's so great that he had a good game the other night. It's so great. He just needs these moments. But I don't have like benchmarks that they need to be doing X, Y. And honestly, all those guys fall into my rule of second-year players where I just don't think they're going to get that much better this year. I really don't. But they need days like what Taylor just had. And Cody had a pretty good game. Cody's showing me some flashes, actually. So I apologize. I don't have a great answer because I think this is great. And you probably want little marks along the way. I mean, Cody's got to make some shots. Cody is about a 22% corner three shooter, or he's got to stop shooting corner three. I mean, that just might not be right now, his best part of his game is his drive and kind of creating something. Eventually he's got to be able to shoot. Both Taylor and Cody need to get better defensively. Taylor just needs to have a better understanding. He just needs time. And Isaiah's doing a great job right now. Isaiah's showing the ability to impact long stretches of basketball games right now, which is really impressive. And he's even shooting 1 or 2 threes a game right now, which is better. But his last 4 games are 13, 9, 9, 9 assists. He's averaging 10 assists a game 40 assists over the last 4 games. He really is impacting games in a fabulous way. Would you trade Kyle Anderson for Buddy Hield? Why? Not sure why. So no, I would actually. I don't know what that would do. Buddy Hield's barely playing in Golden State. I think he played like 3 minutes last night on Christmas Day. Honestly, I'm not making trades to like get us incrementally better right now. He's 33. Yeah, no. Does Red Panda bring her own bowls when she is touring? Yes, I believe so. I don't know so, but I believe so. Red Panda's back and on the road. Yeah, I think she has to have her own bowls and her own setup and all of her own stuff. And I think she has to suitcase it all and have it with her as she goes from one spot to the other along the way. That is Locked on Jazz today. That is your Ask LOJ edition. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Follow me on X or all the socials at DLock09. I'm doing a lot more stuff. My best Christmas present was from my daughter. Gave me a little mic so I can do walk and talks. There's a big debate in the family. Should my walk and talks be with my Ray-Ban glasses, Meta glasses that show you where I'm walking, or do you actually want to see my ugly mug? I don't want to show my mug. She says, walk and talks have to show you. I say, no, I want to show you the walkway. You guys tell me what you think you'd rather have on the walk and talks. That's all at DLock09. Everyday are clubs out there for you. Please join. Would love to have you part of it. Want to build up that Discord channel until it's something special. Want the All Access Club to be a really neat thing for the diehard fan. So go to lockedonjazz.supercast.com to be a part of it. I'll be back with you Monday from where? Home, I think. Yeah, probably from the Alta parking lot if I can get a parking spot. It is Locked on Jazz. Have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of the program. We now send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel, Locked on NBA, and on audio. Check out Locked on NBA Game Night, every game, every night.